are asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic. It is predictable who will do badly. Of course, nothing's 100%, but overall it is predictable who will do badly. Just like other illnesses, this virus also can occasionally be lethal, but even so, the vast majority of people of all ages, including the elderly, will recover, and children are essentially immune. Those are the facts. You must know those facts. Number 2, epidemiology. All across the world, this is interesting stuff. The daily death, when it gets to about 20% of the cases, the daily death starts going down once there's 20% antibody prevalence in a community. Early on, you heard talk of herd immunity. Early in this pandemic process, people were throwing around the number 70%. It turns out that number was wrong. It's around 20%. The reasons why are complicated, but the bottom line is everywhere across the world, when we approach 20% prevalence, the virus and the disease goes down. New York hit 20% around April. Other states followed. We are long past the crisis of this virus. Number 3, masks are totally irrelevant for stopping a virus. Viruses are 1,000 times smaller than a hair, and they are 50 times smaller than a bacteria. It is like saying a chain link fence should stop a mosquito. The New England Journal of Medicine, the most famous medical journal in the world, although they've all been vulnerable to corruption, but even the New England Journal of Medicine on April 1st called masks a lucky charm, that it's not logical, that we humans are subject to fear during a crisis, and masks' greatest contribution is to reduce the transmission of anxiety. It says that in the science, and nonetheless, everyone is saying we still should be wearing masks. There is no substitute for knowing these facts yourself. And the 4th thing is about treatment. Doctors can help you. For example, there's over 80 studies showing hydroxychloroquine works. There's budesonide, ivermectin, antibodies, remdesivir, etc. It is your obligation, if you want to be free, is to be educated. Legal. Now, in Texas, either the governor or the state legislature can terminate the state of emergency. What's going on right now is that the governor has taken too much power. So you say, how do you get him to stop that? He can stop it, which obviously he's chosen not to do, but also the state legislature can stop it. Abbott is supposed to be balanced by the legislature, but the legislature is not calling itself into session to take that vote. The courts are not going to hear such a case quickly enough to make a difference. Your state legislature is coming back into session in January, and I'll talk about that for a minute. But because there's nothing, I think there's not a good executive, legislative, or judicial remedy at the moment. It's the people must be counted. That's why rallies like this are incredibly important. 2, by law, we all have equal rights, but we don't have equal things. Obviously, we have the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, right to vote, public education, compete for a job, etc. But because we only have equal rights, but not equal things, inequality in life is always inevitable. Per Alexander Freedom, inequality exists as long as freedom exists. But that also means that there's no equal right to good health. Not everybody was born in good health. Some people have different things happen to them. There is no equal right to health, good health, and there's no equal right to not be exposed to a virus. That is not the government's role. The government's role is to provide an environment where we can be free. That's it. Very important legal fact. This coronavirus is not a unique legal situation. Epidemics are common and ordinary throughout human history. And of course our founding fathers were aware of them. Have you heard of smallpox, plague, yellow fever, diphtheria, dengue fever, measles, typhus, and let's not forget the, quote, 13 colonies influenza epidemic of the 1730s. Yes, that's exactly what it was called, the 13 colonies influenza epidemic. The founding fathers knew that freedom could be restricted in the name of an epidemic. In fact, epidemics are really a great way to limit freedom. It's better than war, better than natural disaster, because those two things bring people together. Epidemics are silent, they're stealth, there's no visible enemy, there's nothing to do, which leaves people very restless. I would argue that it is precisely for the instance of epidemics and pandemics that we have a Bill of Rights. Precisely because the religion of public health is such a cunning foe that it has many willing followers. The 4th legal point is complying with the religion of public health is not a trivial compromise. Lots of people in your daily life will tell you, come on, it's just a mask. Go along, wear a mask when you don't want to. I'm not saying if you want to, wear it. I'm talking about the people that are telling you not to. I'm going to reinforce for you, it is not a trivial compromise. Seemingly minor encroachments must be fought with all of your energy. James Madison noted that the human frailties of our leaders was an enormous threat. In every human being, there's a natural tendency of egomania, self-aggrandizement. He warned there's a permanent conflict between controlling the government and the government controlling us. James Madison said, I believe there are more instances of abridgment of the freedom of the people by gradual and silent encroachments than by power and sudden usurpations. It is proper to take alarm at the first experiment on our liberties. We hold this to be the first duty of citizens and one of the noblest characteristics of the revolution. The free men of America did not wait until usurped power strengthens itself. It's very important. Don't let anybody tell you that the mask issue is not important. It is a slow, silent, stealth maneuver. It is a siren call. It is the canary in the coal mine. Everyone who's getting to know me knows I don't like to just talk. I want people to take action. We are nothing if we don't act. One, you must be educated. There's no substitute for your own understanding of the facts. It starts with the man in the mirror. You will not be able to influence a single person if you are not sure yourself. If you're not sure about the mask facts, if you're not sure about the virus. Let me explain what I've done to help you and everyone across America. America's Frontline Doctors has all of these facts. I don't even like to talk about them because they're there written. I think it's a waste of my time. Read it yourself. Under America's Frontline Doctors, there's a reference section. You can read on hydroxychloroquine. You can read on masks. You must do this if you plan to effectively fight. And remember, our founding fathers said there is no freedom if we're not educated. You cannot be both free and ignorant. So make that commitment to yourself and to everyone sitting next to you. Number two, do not comply with anything unless you absolutely must. I do put the mask on the airplane because I have to be here. There is no choice. It's more important. But do not comply with anything unless you must. And the reasons are as follows. One is you strengthen your own resolve for freedom. Two, you role model freedom and you reduce fear in others. There are people who are legitimately ignorant and unsure and they're walking around in a mask because everyone told them to do that. And if you don't walk around in a mask, it will get them thinking. And maybe after the 100th person does that, they will change their behavior. So it's important for others to role model that. And three, we have to show politicians that they're going to face stiff opposition. Now, for Texas, in January, when your state legislature is in session, in my opinion, you need to do sit-ins and you need to do protests 24/7 until Abbott and or the state legislature lifts the state of emergency. For those of you who say, I think this is too hard or I'm too busy, I'm going to say this. Did you stand in line for toilet paper? Then stand in line and stand up for freedom. I want to say, my fourth action point is you all know about big tech censorship. I've been censored everywhere. By the way, I'm very mainstream, okay? Like, I went to Chicago Medical School, I went to Stanford Law School, I've raised 2 kids, I pay my taxes, my kids all got vaccinated, by the way, because that's how it was. I am very mainstream. I'm sharing that with you because if they censor me as aggressively, it's going to be all of you. Please go to my website, please sign up. I do post a lot on Twitter, there's a lot of good information, but we must be independent of the social media platforms. There's no substitute, so go to America's Frontline Doctors and sign up. And last, my favorite part, be joyful, okay? Like communist countries everywhere, the other side is imposing misery on all of us. I believe this is intentional, but even if it's not, it is increasing the fear. You must be joyful. You must go outside. You must go and meet friends, have dinner, demonstrate normalcy. You must show the world why it's worth fighting for this freedom. You must be a warrior. Of course, that's most important. But part of being a warrior is being a happy warrior. It's part of the mission. God bless America.
Acts, I'm a weapon of war, I'm a prayer warrior, I'm cutthroat. Do you understand? Like I tell people all the time, I shoot and ask questions later. It is time for us to fight this battle, both in the physical, on the streets, and with knowledge. Get information, get knowledge, get on the streets, get in your prayer closet. We need to take our nation back. We cannot allow these creatures to destroy us. I tell people all the time, nobody needs to get sick. Nobody. Because we've been talking about prevention. You don't need to get sick. You don't need no vaccines. You don't need masks. We don't need schools locked down. We don't need our businesses shut down. The only reason why this is happening is because Americans are not listening. Because as at now, in almost every state in America, you can get HCQ prevention. Everybody. You can get it for sickness. If you get sick, you can get it early. Listen, I am so focused. I am set like a flint. I have one message, and that is all. Get hydroxychloroquine, prevention, get zinc, get vitamin C, keep your family protected. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't need to get sick.
Stand in truth now. You are not alone. Though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we shall fear no evil. Do not be afraid. Do not back down. And stop worrying. We are winning this. Because the police officers aren't wearing masks. Because every person that blows it below their nose. They're with us. Grab them. Talk to them. Do not shut up. Stand up now. Stand up for Texas. Stand up for America. And stand for the light of the world!